Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome to your Week 1 AEW Power Rankings list. This is something I'm going to try to do fairly regularly, as AEW is meant to really focus in on these win-loss records and be more of a sports-oriented feel. So, with these power rankings, it's going to be a combination of the superstars' record as well as where I see them going forward. So we will try to do this every week and basically just try to envision who is going to be next in line for a title shot or anything like that throughout these power rankings. So let's get to it. At number 10, I'm throwing in Britt Baker here. And her record is only 1-2. But I do think that she's someone that they are going to try to build around as we get into the later portions of this, of starting here on TV. She lost the Battle Royal by being pulled out by someone who had already been eliminated, I believe, Bea Priestley. And should Nyla Rose be the one to be the first AEW Women's Champion, I would imagine that Britt Baker will probably be the first to take it off of her. And I think that's a good move. I think she's one of the better wrestlers they have on the female side of things. So I think while she has not been great so far with 1-2, one of those was a tag match. The other was a battle royal. She won the Fatal 4-Way, I believe it was, at the first show, Double or Nothing. And I think they're going to build her up more throughout the weekly television shows, and I expect Britt Baker to be more of a fixture in the grand scheme of things. At number 9, we got Riho coming in with a 3-1 record. She is the number one contender for the, or one of the number one contenders for the women's title. I imagine that she's going to lose that match, but either way, they've definitely put Riho in some favorable positions with her record as 3-1. One of those being in the triple threat match with Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. And she came away with the win in that one, I believe, and then beat Shida one-on-one to get this shot. So she comes in at number 9. I expect that she will lose to Nyla, but her record of 3-1 gets her in on this list alone. At number 8, I'm going to go with Jon Moxley, who, while he has only had one match and is 1-0 with the match with Joey Janela, I think that obviously he's going to rise up these power rankings. So I'm going to put him at number 8 for now. I expect he'll be a lot higher later. I think he'll probably do some stuff with Chris Jericho at some point with the title, possibly. There's a lot of possibilities for what they could do with Moxley. They still have the Kenny Omega match that they can pay off later, as he was supposed to have the match with Omega at All Out. I'm sure that he was probably going to win that match, so they'll be able to run it back, and Moxley will be able to hopefully gather some more momentum going in whenever he does come back. I'm not sure what week of television that might be, but we will see, and I think he will quickly rise up these power rankings. At number 7, I have Nyla Rose, who, believe it or not, is only 1-2, and her one win being the Battle Royal win that got her the number one contender position. I thought the booking of Nyla was very bad early on, with the triple threat that turned into a fatal four-way with Awesome Kong coming in, that really took away from what Nyla Rose was there to do. And then after that, the triple threat match with Shida and Riho. If I'm not mistaken, she ended up getting pinned in that match. So that was ridiculous. But they had her win the Battle Royal, and I imagine that she's going to be the future Women's World Champion. My only wish is that they would have booked her stronger in the pay-per-views leading up to this show. But either way, based on the number one contendership and that she's probably going to be the first women's champion, I have to put Nyla Rose in here at 7. At number 6, we got the Young Bucks coming in with a 3-1 record. That includes a 6-man tag win with Kenny Omega, 2 wins over the Lucha Bros, I believe, and then 1 loss to the Lucha Bros at the ladder match on the last All Out show. And with the Bucks, I mean, their 1 loss was the most recent one. But with them going into this tag team tournament, everything is very much up in the air. They're going to be facing a Private Party the first round, so that's probably going to be a ridiculously fun match to watch. But the reason I have the Bucks here, and we'll get into the next one at number 5, is just because the Lucha Bros get the most recent win. So it can be a what have you done for me lately sort of thing, and I think the win from the Lucha Bros, I will put them slightly ahead of the Young Bucks at number 5. They're 2-2 with defeating the Young Bucks in that last ladder match. And, the what have you done for me lately arguments. The 2 early losses to the Young Bucks in, I believe, their first 2 matches really hampered them coming out of the gate. But come back strong with the big win at the last ladder match, and they'll be in the tag tournament as well. I have the Lucha Bros slightly ahead of the Young Bucks for now. Then at number 4, we have Adam Hangman Page, who before All Out was an undefeated 3-0, went in to face Jericho, picks up his first loss. And so I think Page is still going to be in the fixture to eventually get his hands on that world title, and this is going to be part of a bigger story that he can eventually rise up to gain that title. So I like Page. I think he'll be good going forward. And I think that 1 loss to Jericho does not hurt him. Or at least it doesn't hurt him beyond being rebuilt. So I look forward to what they're going to do with Page, who is his first feud and his first match is going to be up against Pac, who I have here at number 3, who is 1-0, with his 1 win being over Kenny Omega. Omega not in this power rankings, just because his record is not good enough to really warrant that. But I do think that with Pac, there's a certain level of intrigue of how he's going to be used. I put him at number 3 just because, it's, like I said, it's the what have you done for me lately thing. So I put him slightly above Page, but they'll be able to settle that with their first match coming up here shortly. So we'll see how that goes. Number 2 is Cody Rhodes, who sports the record of 2-1-1, the 1 loss being in the tag match against the Young Bucks, and then a time limit draw with Darby Allin, which in hindsight just Doesn't make a ton of sense. But either way, they had a time limit draw. Cody virtually had the match won, but it came to a time limit draw. And, the two matches, other than that, he had the win over Dustin, the best match they've put on so far, one of the best matches of the year. And now, the announcement that Cody will be facing Chris Jericho at the next AEW pay-per-view, Full Gear. And they didn't save this to do on TV. They announced it beforehand. And I'm interested in the reasoning for that. But either way, right as it stands right now, Cody will be the next challenger. He faces Sammy Guevara on the first week of AEW on TNT. So I'm interested if Sammy is able to pick up the win, which I do predict that he will get the upset win. Will Cody be taken out of the match? Will it be turned into a triple threat match? How would they deal with that? Or will Cody get the predictable win? I like the way they're building up Guevara versus Cody in the Road to TNT stuff that they're doing on the YouTube channel. But I'm interested to see what they do with Cody going forward. I can't imagine that he's going to just take the title off of Jericho. But that gets us to our number one, who is, of course, the AEW Le Champion, Chris Jericho, who sports a 2-1 record and is the current AEW World Champion, the only champion that has been crowned to this point. So, he has to be number one. He's undefeated and has the AEW World Championship. The first win being over Omega, the second one being over Adam Page, who is someone that I also have high on this Power Rankings list. So, two big wins for Jericho, both winning with the Judas Effect elbow. And they're definitely trying to protect that move and turn it into a one-shot finish sort of thing, which I know a lot of people don't really like the move, but it's grown on me. It's grown on me. At the end of the day, it's a finishing move. Like, if we're gonna compare it to like the Code Breaker or anything else, I always like a striking finisher. Like, the Black Mass is one of my favorite finishers, so I like the Judas Effect, that it can come from out of nowhere. You can do a lot of stuff out of it. So I don't really hate that as much as other people do. But either way, Chris Jericho is number one. That's all we got. We'll be back next week following the first TNT show to hopefully revisit this.